Right now I'm only doing 2 exercises which specifically target the triceps, and that is narrow bench press, which I'm doing here, and also an overhead rope tricep extension. So I'm really trying to make these count. So I'm slowing down the reps as much as I can, but watch when I start to get to the end of this working set, because I get the ultimate butt cramp in both butt cheeks. And it always happens to me with normal bench press, narrow press, the whole lot, especially when it starts to get really heavy and I'm doing those last couple of reps where the intensity is just really high. I think that's how you know when you're pressing that you're working with a high intensity, because obviously, yes, I'm trying to work the triceps here, but the rest of the body is still switched on and engaged. So I'm trying to keep good posture the whole time. So heels pressed down, hamstrings on, core switched on, upper back retracted, keeping a neutral spine, the whole lot, while trying to get more reps out on the tricep press. So see there, this is what I do to try and loosen up the butt cramp. This is one of those exercises where it's quite hard to make progress in terms of progressive overload, because look how big those plates are. And I'm working with a small muscle group now. So to go to the next plate is a really big jump. So here I've actually gone up a plate since my previous working set, and it's slightly too heavy. You can see my last couple of reps, my form is not fantastic. But I will stay on this next week and just trying to do better reps. So sometimes it's not about trying to get more reps or even more weight. It's just about doing the exercise with better reps, and that's what I think I need next time on this one. This is my least favorite muscle group to train, my least favorite exercise, and I'm supposed to do calf press on leg day, but I just don't have enough energy left. And calves normally come at the end of leg day, and that's when I'm already tired from doing legs. So I've actually put it on another day. It's just one exercise. This is one of my last working sets, so I'm only getting 6 reps. I just freaking hate it. It just hurts, and I feel like I'm only doing one small part of my body. I just don't like it, but it's necessary. Just having cuddles with all my animals on the couch. Look, there's one. There's one. There's one. It's because we've got this heater on. And I'm about to have my meal too, so I'll show you what it is. Bit random. Got tuna, lemon pepper flavour, cottage cheese and corn thins. I don't like putting the tuna on here because it makes everything soggy and then the corn thin falls apart. I always feel weird talking about what I eat for competition, because pretty much every season I've ever done, I've eaten something completely different. So what I'm eating for competition now is not what I've done every other time. And there's so many different ways that you can eat to get lean for a show. So there's no like one particular way or one right way. There's heaps of different ways. And I also find that the result you get is not really to do with what you're eating for the competition anyway. It's mainly what you're eating in your off season first, because that helps determine how quickly you're going to get results in those last few months, but also whether you're actually sticking to your diet or not. And I can tell you, in the first couple of years, I was one of those people who would like crazy stick to the diet, like to the absolute letter, no cheating whatsoever, weighing and measuring everything. But as I've got older, I have realised that my willpower is waning. So it was a little bit of figuring out that there were certain things I could get away with, which is good in a way but bad, but because then you do it anyway, even though you don't actually have to do it. And then it triggers this, oh, well, maybe if I can get away with a little bit, maybe I can get away with a little bit more. So it almost offsets this cascade of bad habits. So that's why I always make sure that I still track it, even if I eat off the plan, which I did last night. I ate 2 protein bars last night. for no other reason than a moment of weakness. And I don't normally like protein bars. I think they taste like cardboard, and I'm like, well, you might as well have a chocolate bar if you're going to have a protein bar, because the amount of nutrients in it are pretty minimal anyway. But this one, I just decided to try it. It was pretty good, and then I was like, ooh, oopsie, had another one. 10 weeks out, I know I actually will get away with it, but I have to make sure that I nip that in the bud now, because if I keep doing it all the way through, I will certainly not get away with it. Because even though it might be low calorie, this is where a lot of people stuff it up. They go, oh, low calorie, I can have it. Yeah, but it's also low nutrients. Are you putting something into your body that your body actually is going to need or utilize for anything? Or is it just because you feel like eating it? Because if you just feel like eating it, it's very easy to get stuck in a habit loop of doing it over and over. And then it's harder to stop. So I'm talking about this now because I need to tell myself to stop doing that. It was very yum, and it might be low calories, so it might not be the worst thing in the world. But if I keep telling myself that and do it more, it might be one small thing that just happens too often. So these are the little things that matter. And I think those are the two big things that determine whether you get a really good result from your contest diet, is how good you were in your off season, in terms of were you eating a lot of good lean proteins and plant matters in your off season, like high volume of that stuff, to get your insulin working, metabolism working, lots of energy, lots of vitamins and minerals. And then when you go into your contest prep diet, whatever that looks like, are you sticking to it exactly, or are you having little extras on the side and little bits and pieces and taking liberties, which is very tempting to do. And if it's a tiny little bit, you got to be careful that you don't end up doing it a lot, because a little bit adds up to a lot very, very quickly. And still making sure that I record when I'm off the plan, so in terms of food diary and stuff like that, so that later on, when I look at my progress photos and my skin fold results, I've actually got a true and accurate record of what I did to get that result. And instead of just remembering what I was supposed to do, I'm always going to keep a record of what I actually did, just in case. So I weighed myself this morning, and I was 58.2, which means I've actually lost another kilo and a bit since last week, in the last 7 days. And I'll put that down to two different things. There's one, I've had a lot more sleep this past 7 days, heaps of sleep. My partner Dave's been in England, and because I've got no one to talk to, I've basically just been going to bed every night at like 9 p.m. And it's been really good. So that's something I'm going to have to prioritize a lot more over the next few months, because it has made a huge difference. I think just in terms of my recovery, lack of inflammation and stuff like that. But the other reason I think it's gone down is because I didn't train at all for like 4 or 5 days. And again, because my partner's been away, so I've been doing all the sessions at the gym, which I love doing anyway. It's just a lot to do. And I've had to, this is the one who's been unwell, so I had to take him back to the hospital to get his bandages taken off. I've had consults. So I've been busy with lots of good stuff. But basically I just was like, I just need something to be deleted these few days. And so it was my training. And I think because I haven't trained, that's also why there's less inflammation in my body. So once I get back into normal training this week, let's see if the scale goes back up, because it probably will. When you're lifting weights consistently, you're always going to be a bit inflamed. So lots of good sleep and hardly any training, I think, did me a world of good, because I'll show you my check-in video next, which I took this morning. And I really feel like it has made a difference. I do think I look better. Can't do skin folds this week though, because my partner's away and he's the one who does it for me. So I'll have that in my next video. But once you see this, you'll see I definitely look different than last week, which is good. But being 10 weeks out, I've still got lots of room to move and play and change things. So yeah, I'm in a really good position this week. Go me. So pleased I finally got to film a leg day for you, which starts off with leg press. Now, one thing I have noticed since turning 41 is when I train, and particularly when I train legs, I can feel the pressure in my joints now. I've been wearing knee sleeves probably for about 5 years now, but I used to only ever wear them for leg press and for no other exercise. But I'm starting to wear them a little bit more frequently now, because I can feel the pressure in the joint. And I think that's partly because of the number of years I've been training. So there's going to be, even if you train properly, there's still going to be some wear and tear on your joints. But also, I'm stronger now than I used to be, so there's more load, which means there's a heavier load going through a joint which has a certain amount of wear and tear. So I'm quite proud that I've never done a huge amount of high volume training in the past. So this feeling might have arrived earlier if I had done a lot of high volume training. I normally do low volume, high intensity, but a little bit of high volume is okay every now and then. It's just you want to make sure you're always working with what's optimal, and so you're not doing any nonsense or doing any reps that are basically not going to give you a result. Because even if you do train properly, you're still going to end up with a little bit of wear and tear on your joints at some point. That's one of the reasons why I do single leg as well, because if I do double leg, then I've got more than double the weight stacked on the machine, and it's just so much pressure through the joints. So I just find I get a lot more out of it if I just do single leg. Seated hamstring curl is such a good exercise to target the hamstrings, but annoyingly in this gym there's only one seated hamstring curl. There's quite a lot of prone, which is the face down, and normally someone's using this one, so I actually get to use it tonight, but most of the time I actually have to do prone because it's all that's free. Now when you do seated, you're bent at the hips. That's the difference between that and lying down, so it puts you kind of in a stronger position to do it correctly. But I do have a muscle imbalance. I have my left rear adductor is never quite as strong as my right. So when I do this exercise, I'm very conscious of the fact that I think my right leg is doing more work than my left. So after this set, I'm going to do one more. My final working set, I'm going to do single leg, just because I want to double check that my left leg still gets worked as well, and I don't make the muscle imbalance any worse. Now, I feel like this machine in particular is my worst kept secret because I love it, and I'm worried that if I tell everyone why I like it, the next time I go there, there'll be people using it. But anyway, I love it because I always struggle with squats, barbell squats, Smith machine squats, any type of back squats, because I'm always limited by what my lower back can take. My legs and bum are very strong, but my lower back in particular, and even my upper back, is never quite as strong as my legs. So this is leg day. I want to train my legs, but I want to do it in a way where I'm not limited by what my lower back can take. So this is my variation of a squat. And again, it's single leg because I want to just be mindful of muscle imbalances. And bilateral, in other words, both legs would mean I'm using more than double the weight. So that's more pressure through the joints, all that sort of stuff. So anyway, single leg, this is the perfect variation for me. It's also a good variation for a split squat or a squat, split squat or splot. It's also a good variation for a split squat or a lunge, because I can't, when I have 1 foot back, I've got one toe which doesn't bend all the way back anymore. So split squats and lunges are really uncomfortable for me to do. So this exercise is very good for me as a variation for a normal squat and also for a split squat or a lunge. And of course we need to have some stiff-legged deadlifts in here. This is actually my last working set. And you can't see, but next to my camera, I've got my video camera filming right now. I also went live inside one of my client chat groups as well. And I think that's a good way of blackmailing yourself, especially if you're a trainer. I went live for my last working set in front of all my clients so they can go back and watch this. Because that just gives me that little bit of, when you start to get to the point where everything's hurting, you're tired, you're at the end of your working set and you've just had enough, that's the time where you can talk yourself out of those last couple of extra reps. So I did that specifically because I really wanted to beat what I did last week. And I'm proud that I did. So yeah, I've got 60 kgs here. And I end up getting 12 reps, which is one more rep than I got the week before. Go me.